Imagine stumbling upon a handcrafted doll, intricate in detail, yet chillingly faceless. It's a sunny day at the local market, bustling with life, color, and the hum of haggling. Amidst the chaos, an object of peculiar interest catches my eye. A doll. Its craftsmanship is undeniably impressive, yet it bears no face, an eerie void where a smile or a frown should be. A strange fascination grips me. I find myself drawn to this faceless figure, an inexplicable urge compelling me to purchase it. It's not the beauty or the craftsmanship that entices me, but the mystery it holds. What could be the story behind this faceless marvel? Is it a symbol of anonymity or a canvas waiting to be filled? With a mix of intrigue and trepidation, I bring it home. And so the faceless doll found a new home. Little did I know, it was a decision that would change my life forever. That first night, I placed the doll on the mantelpiece. The next morning, I noticed something peculiar. As the sun's rays danced around the room, the doll seemed different. Where there had been a smooth, blank canvas, a slight indentation appeared, a subtle hint of a nose. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, convinced it was a trick of the light. But no, there it was, a nose, as plain as day. Over the following days, the transformation continued. The doll's face, once smooth and featureless, began to morph. A pair of lips, soft and full, appeared beneath the nose. They were identical to mine, down to the slight crook on the left side, a remnant from a childhood accident. A shiver of unease slithered down my spine, but I dismissed it as a figment of my imagination. After all, it was just a doll, right? By the third day, a pair of eyes had formed, clear and bright, mirroring my own. I found myself lost in those eyes, a strange sense of familiarity washing over me. The resemblance was uncanny. It was as if someone had taken a chisel and etched my face onto the doll. As the days turned into a week, the transformation was complete. The doll now had a full face and, most disturbingly, a head of hair that looked eerily like my own, each strand meticulously carved, capturing the exact shade and texture. A sense of dread settled in the pit of my stomach, a gnawing feeling that something was amiss. I studied the doll, its lifelike features staring back at me, its silent presence filling the room with an unsettling aura. The once faceless doll was now a perfect replica of me, down to the minutest detail. I found myself drawn to it, yet repulsed at the same time. The doll's transformation was baffling, an inexplicable phenomenon that defied logic. I couldn't shake the eerie feeling as I looked at the doll. It was as if I was looking into a mirror. As the doll became more lifelike, I felt a strange sensation, a gradual loss of identity. The transformation was not only in the doll, but it was happening within me too. I felt as if I was being hollowed out. Slowly but surely, my sense of self was slipping away, replaced by an empty void. Each day was a battle with despair. Waking up became increasingly difficult, as if I was being weighed down by a heavy anchor. Every morning I would look in the mirror and see a stranger staring back at me. My features were fading, becoming less defined, less human. My eyes, once vibrant and full of life, seemed dull and distant. My lips, once curved into a constant smile, now sat flat and lifeless. My face, the one thing that defined me, was gradually disappearing. The doll, on the other hand, was becoming more lifelike by the day. It was as if it was feeding off my despair, growing stronger while I became weaker. I watched in horror as my features appeared on its once blank canvas. My eyes, my lips, my nose, everything was replicated with terrifying precision. It was like looking at a mirror that was slowly consuming my identity. The hopelessness was all-consuming. I felt trapped, like a bird in a cage, my wings clipped, my voice silenced. The doll was my warden, keeping me locked in this nightmare. The world outside seemed distant, like a dream I could no longer reach. I was sinking deeper and deeper into the abyss, my cries for help swallowed by the darkness. And then, one day, I woke up to find my face completely gone. The mirror now reflected a faceless figure. My features, once so familiar, were now lost. All that was left was a blank slate, a canvas ready to be painted on. But there was no artist, no creator, only the doll grinning back at me with my stolen face. The mirror now reflected a faceless figure. I was losing myself, becoming a phantom in my own life. The faceless doll had stolen my features, leaving me a shell of my former self. The realization hit me like a freight train. I was no longer the master of my own appearance. A lifeless, handcrafted doll was. The eerie connection between my rapidly changing features and the doll's transformation was now painfully clear. As the doll began to take on my likeness, my own features started to vanish. Every glance in the mirror revealed a stranger, a faceless figure that was once me. My hair, once a vibrant chestnut, began to thin and lose its color. My eyes, once bright and full of life, were now dull and lifeless. My skin, once youthful and radiant, turned ashen and cold. As the doll morphed into a mirror image of me, I could feel my identity slipping away. It was as if the doll was eating away at my existence, piece by piece replacing me with a hollow, faceless echo of my former self. The terror was overwhelming. I was losing myself to a doll, a creation of wood and cloth. The absurdity of it was almost laughable, if it weren't for the grim reality. The doll was stealing my features, my identity, my life. It was like staring at my own reflection, but it was twisted, wrong. My reflection was becoming more real than me. I was desperate. I tried to fight it, to reclaim my stolen features, but how do you fight against your own reflection? How do you fight against a curse that leaves you faceless, that takes away your very essence? Every day was a struggle to remember who I was, a struggle to hold on to my dwindling humanity. I felt a growing sense of despair, a feeling of hopelessness that threatened to consume me. Despair washed over me. I was trapped in a nightmare, and I didn't know how to escape. I was losing myself to the doll's curse, and the worst part was, I didn't know how to break free. In the end, the doll was a perfect replica of me, while I was left faceless, a living ghost. As the days wore on, the despair crept in, cold and relentless, like a winter's night. The doll, once a faceless trinket of curiosity, had become a grotesque mirror of my former self. Its eyes, once vacant, now sparkled with an uncanny familiarity. The contours of its face, the curve of the lips, the arch of the brows, all meticulously sculpted, mimicking mine with eerie precision. The doll, it seemed, had stolen my identity, leaving me a hollow shell. Every day, the mirror reflected a stranger, a faceless entity staring back, its features wiped clean, as though an artist had erased their sketch off a canvas. The despair was overwhelming, a tidal wave that threatened to pull me under with its relentless current. I was drowning in a sea of hopelessness, my screams muffled, my existence fading away into obscurity. I was a living ghost, trapped in a nightmare that refused to end. The world around me continued in its rhythm, oblivious to my silent cry for help. The laughter of children, the hum of traffic, the rustle of leaves in the wind, all seemed like distant echoes. I was there, yet I wasn't. I was lost in the labyrinth of my despair, my existence fading into a faceless oblivion. But in the midst of this darkness, I found a kind of acceptance, a quiet resignation to my fate. I was the victim of my own envy, ensnared by the curse of the faceless doll. It was a cruel game of fate, a bitter lesson learned too late. Envy, I realized, was a dangerous emotion, a fire that consumed everything in its path, leaving behind nothing but ashes. I wish I could warn you, dear listener, about the dangers of envy, about the curse of the faceless doll. It's a treacherous path, one that leads to despair and desolation. But words are just a whisper in the wind, easily lost in the noise of the world. All I can do is share my story, a cautionary tale of a man who lost himself to his envy. The faceless doll sits on the mantelpiece, an eerie reminder of the person I once was. Be wary of the faceless doll, for envy is a dangerous game to play.